Hello and thank you for joining me for IEC 221. This is Lecture 2A. My name is Maria Rutherford and I am your Associate Professor of Early Childhood here at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. And I will be teaching you this semester in your IEC 221 Creative Expressions class. So welcome. So we're going to begin to talk about today and have a conversation about what is the definition of creativity. With whom or what do you associate creativity with? What do you think about when I say the word creativity? Who do you think about when I say the word creativity? Do you think maybe of the Wright brothers who invented the airplane, or do you think about maybe Henry Ford who created the Model T? Or do you think about the person who created Facebook? Those people have to be extremely creative, don't they? Where did they learn how to be creative? Was it born into them? Did somebody teach them how to be creative? Those are some questions that we are going to be asking, but we are also going to be coming at it from a teacher standpoint, because part of creativity is allowing the process to happen instead of controlling what the product looks like. Now, when we begin to think about the definition of creativity, there are numerous amounts of definitions out there that we hear what creativity is. So we're going to set some boundaries in this process, because I feel like we all need to be on the same page of what we are going to accept as a definition for creativity. And that's what Lecture 2A is about. First of all, let's say that our definition is going to include the ability to see things in new ways. So when we're looking at in a classroom and we see 10 bunnies that are produced by children pinned up on a bulletin board, and they are all the same. They all have the same whiskers in the same place, the same nose in the same place, the same eyes in the same place, and the white bunny tail. There is no uniqueness about them. We would not consider that creativity. Now, let's look at the second part. It says boundary breaking and going beyond the information given. Now, the way I interpret that is that if I were to give my preschoolers, my 10 preschoolers, whiskers, a nose, eyes, and a bunny, fluffy tail for their cotton balls for their fluffy tail, and I gave them a bunny. And I said, I want you to create your own bunny. And I saw brown bunnies, pink bunnies, green bunnies, bunnies with flowers drawn on them. Maybe the whiskers weren't just in the different places. Then what I'm saying is these children have gone beyond the information that I have given them to make a bunny rabbit, and they have created what's called the next step, making something unique according to the way they see it. And their thinking is unconventional. That means it's not just like mine. And that's not what we want. We do not want our children to think just like us. If we all had the same genetic makeup, if we all liked the same clothes, if we all spoke the same language, if we all saw things through the same pair of glasses, this world would be extremely boring for us to live in. But because of creativity, it creates that uniqueness about us, and it combines unrelated things and causes something new to grow out of that. Our thinking is going to be based upon Howard Gardner, who is the theorist behind multiple intelligent theory. Now, with that, he has that there are 8 different intelligence. Some people, he says, are mathematical and they're very creative in math. Some are linguistic, which means that they're very creative in language and literacy. Some with art, some with kinesthetic, which means they're great dancers. They're gifted sports players. They're all kinds of different body movement related people, ice skaters, dancers, cloggers, all those types of people. And then you have people who are artsy and people who are musical. You have people like Beethoven who could, he heard the symphony in his head and then wrote it down. How does that happen? Those are the questions that we see. Well, that's what Howard Gardner said. The people are gifted. They have these creativity components, and it's not just a one-time thing, but it's a pattern over their life. And these are the 4 principles, 4-part definition of Howard Gardner's definition of creativity. First of all, Howard Gardner believes that a person can be creative in a particular developmental domain rather than across all domains. So he's saying a person can be kinesthetically gifted in their ability, but they may not have that same gift in music, or they may not have that same gift in math or in reading. The second thing Howard Gardner believes that creative individuals regularly exhibit this creativity as opposed to having a once-in-a-lifetime moment. So again, you see that pattern in their life over and over and over. And thirdly, Gardner insists that creativity can involve fashioning products or devising new questions as well as solving problems. And that's good because this greatly expands more traditional definitions that emphasize the making of products, because we're going to begin to talk about in our next lecture 2C, about how it's the process over the product. And fourthly, Howard Gardner believes that creative activities are only known as such when they have been accepted in a particular culture. Creativity depends on cultural judgment. And we saw that when we see from the African American standpoint. I was so amazed last night when I was watching TV and Oprah Winfrey had brought on this new show that was done at the Kennedy Center, and it was all in reference to African American music and how it literally came about from before the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and then how it just bursted forth after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. And it was so interesting because you saw how the blues came out of the African American culture. You saw how the go-go dance came out of the African American culture. You see so much like Michael Jackson's foot movements even came out of the African American culture back in when they picked cotton in the old slave days. And as horrible as all that was, it brought so much value. And I just loved how Oprah did this. She just brought so much value to the African American culture, and how it just really showed the roots of their culture and how it has influenced the world. And isn't that amazing? I mean, it's so beautiful when you think about it. And it was so beautiful to see that culture just blossom and bloom when they were freed. And what a blessing that their culture has been in America since Abraham Lincoln signed that they were free. I really was blessed by that. I love the African American culture anyway. I love their music. I love their songs, their dance, their enthusiasm. I'm very blessed by that culture. So now as you prepare, you're going to be doing your assignment 2B. So basically what you're doing is you're going to watch a video, and then you're going to answer these 3 questions in 300 words or less. So basically 100 words per question. So in thinking about these 3 questions, I want you to think about what I just talked about with Howard Gardner's 4-point definition. And I'm going to be looking for you to talk about me in this lecture within the answers to your 3 questions. So begin to think about that, and then write your answers down. And remember, only 100 words for question 1, only 100 words for question 2, and 100 words for question 3. So thank you very much.